Next up, Gene Okerlund's backstage with the Rockers. Michael says everyone says the Twin Towers can't be beat, but they can. Jannetty says they're ready. They like saying grease lightning during this particular promo, but that was about all I got from it.
I was too busy paying attention to the Jive Soul Bros in the background, the amazing music of the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
I'm just sat there going, a Jive Soul Bro, a Jive Soul Bro, when you that was what I was just sat there in the background having a lovely time.
Creed turned up in the middle of that one.
Yeah, the
Why
greatest
not?
band.
Why not? Next up, the Rockers faced the Twin Towers in a match that went for 8 minutes. It ends when Michaels comes off the top rope, but Bossman catches him and powerbombs him. Then Akeem hits Air Africa for the 3 count. Air Africa just being a splash. Matt, your thoughts?
I must have missed that. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Air Africa.
I like that. That's a cool move, Dave.
Well, this was, of course, I don't know if you know this, Matt. Of course, this was apparently all a big send up of Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. So that was the idea of Akeem, the African Dream. And he's, of course, played by One Man Gang as well, who was certainly not African in any way. The way that they decided to make him seem African, apparently, was to dance his way to the ring.
God, yeah.
If you get the chance, Matt, go onto YouTube and write One Man Gang becomes Akeem, because it is extraordinary.
I'll make a note to look at that. Okay, so again, another match that was fine for what it was. I mean, it was fascinating for me to see, because we've debated the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart issue before, but we'll go into that another time. But I'm more of a Shawn Michaels guy, so I was quite fascinated to see some of Shawn Michaels' earlier stuff, and I haven't seen that much of Shawn as part of the Rockers tag team, so I was quite fascinated to see Marty Jannetty as well. This was good. Like I said, it wasn't too bad. It was interesting to see Michaels kind of bump all over the place and try and make everybody look as good as he possibly could. He did take what I thought was one absolutely massively hard clothesline from Akeem towards the end, which looked bloody brutal. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, it was, for me, this match was pretty much Michaels bumping all over the place to make him look good. It was okay. It was entertaining enough, and it was kept the show going. So this wasn't too bad. I did enjoy this one.
It's very interesting because Shawn Michaels very much plays like the Robert Gibson role, doesn't he? In the Rockers, where he basically gets a lot of the heat, which is interesting because we watched an AWA card involving the Midnight Rockers, and it was the other way around, where Marty Jannetty gets beaten down and gets all the heat. But it's very much Shawn Michaels territory in what little amount of Rockers matches I've seen in WWF. I quite like this. There's lots of talk at the beginning about the Rockers using the speed. In the beginning of it, there's lots of rapid tags, lots of double team moves. Jesse ponders if the Twin Towers took the Rockers for granted, and Gorilla says, I think Slick is a little bit too smart for that. Which again is just another little bit interesting about the heel face dynamic in the commentary team, but still willing to give the bad guys the credit that they seemingly deserve. It's a lovely little bit where I think Jesse ribs old Gorilla a little bit by stating that Joey Morella, who's the referee, who was obviously Gorilla Monsoon's son, can't actually count to 5. during a moment where there's a potential count out, which he goes, "I'll give it up." Another classic Gorillaism, and it's decent. It's a decent match. There is one bit where the boss man goes to hit a splash off the second rope, I think, and Jesse says he was about 4 feet away from a pinfall there, which made me chuckle as I was watching it. And the highlight of the match is a slightly mistimed double drop kick where the Rockers nearly kill the big boss man because one of them hits him and he sells down and the other one hits him as he's halfway down and he takes his head off. It's amazing. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed this match. I quite liked it. I mean, the reality is I'm gonna like every match on this card, so I'm not gonna have much bad to say about most of the matches, but it was absolutely fine for what it was. It was a perfectly enjoyable match.
Yeah, I mean, I noted the double missile drop kick where they basically nearly kill Big Boss Man. I think Marty Jannetty hits him and Shawn Michaels comes off the top too late and basically lands on top of him, and it all looked a bit funny. But you can see why the Rockers were really popular, because they were just so, again, really different. There weren't many people doing what the Rockers did in WWF at this time. You had Coco Beware as a pretty high-flying kind of guy, but they didn't have anyone like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. They were just a different class, and ultimately were, I guess they must have been a rip-off of the Rock and Roll Express. They just must have been, right from when they started in the AWA, and they weren't the only ones. Obviously, to a certain extent, the Hardy Boys were a bit of a rip-off of the Rock and Roll Express. There's a lot of teams like this. You could argue the Young Bucks are just the latest incarnation of that kind of of theme. But certainly the Rockers really did make a real success of it. And in WWF, where there weren't a lot of people doing this, it really stood out and really got them to be a really popular team, albeit one that didn't in the end officially win the WWF tag team titles.